Ms. Boyer and Ms. Fields, you've both brought the defendant, Mr. Sandiford, to court today to prove that he is your biological father, but you each believe that you are his only daughter and the other is not. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sandiford, you state you do not believe that either is your daughter, but actually hope that one is and one is not.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, I will start with you, Ms. Fields. Ms. Boyer, you may have a seat. So, Ms. Fields, start from the beginning.
About 2 years ago, I sent him a message on Facebook asking him if I could borrow some money, and he responded with, maybe I need to find my real dad, that he wasn't even my father.
That's not true. I was upset, Your Honor, at that point in time because she just kept on aggravating me about money, and that's the only time I've ever heard from her is when it was money.
But you've never done anything for me. With me...
What do you mean I've never done anything?
You've never done
I carried you to the park, I carried you to the fairs.
When?
You
All I remember
all
is you
this?
staying
You were
home.
such a small child, you don't remember a lot of things.
Mr. Sandiford, so you said you had been there for her whole life?
No, ma'am, not her whole life.
So you've been there in what capacity?
I would say half of it.
And you acted as a father?
No, he did not. He did not raise me.
I did the best I could as a father.
My grandparents raised me because my...
All right, so Mr. Sandiford,
they adopted you
because I could not be financially supported.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Because you're not on my birth certificate. You didn't do anything for me, so why?
That's my case. I'm not on your birth certificate.
But
so
why?
who is your father?
I don't know. If you're not, I don't know. But I've been led to believe my whole life that you're my father. You introduced me as your child. Why change now?
Why do you have doubts, specifically?
For one reason, Your Honor, my name's not on her birth certificate. She doesn't have no comparison to me or any of my family.
You are my father. You are my father. I don't compare to you because you were never around me.
I have doubts, young lady.
All right, tell me about your childhood, Ms. Fields.
Growing up, I was, him and my mother were married from the time I was 4 till about the time I was 9.
This hurts you. It's okay.
I was adopted to my grandparents because my mother couldn't afford. She couldn't afford to take care of 3 children by herself. My grandparents stepped in to help me.
Right there.
Let her finish.
She was working at a bar in a burger place. She could not afford it. 3 children by herself. You didn't help.
Why should I help when I wasn't the father? I mean,
how did you know that you weren't the father? Why not get a DNA test then? Why not do it then if you had to help? Why not do it? How old was I? You're the adult. I'm the child. How am I supposed to do this? You're the adult.
Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you ask? Why don't you ask?
Ms. Fields, continue on, please. I'm listening.
My grandparents, they adopted me. They did everything they could for me. They took care of me. They did more than what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and they pushed me out of the picture. That's why.
Because you were never in the picture. How could they push you out of the picture when you were never there to begin with?
Then why do you call other men dads all the time? You're married right now, and
because
you're calling him dad.
I called him dad because he raised me from the time I was 13.
Girl. No, he didn't raise you.
He bought my senior
Then why
picture.
do you always come to me for money and not them if he's your dad?
I go to them, but you're my father.
But you always say that he's come down.
You are supposed to do for me. You are my father. Introduce me as your child, then I should get what I need. I should get
I was told.
You didn't do anything.
Find out that you're not.
Family, ladies, gentlemen, let's settle down a little bit because I do want to understand this, Ms. Fields. Your childhood.
When I was 13 years old, January, my grandmother passed away, and right after that, I lost my grandfather. On my grandfather's deathbed, he specifically asked my dad if he would take care of his girls, stating me and my mom. He said yes. If he wasn't my father, why would he?
Your mother found another man in her life, so why?
And he took care of me. So what is that? He took care of me.
Okay, so Mr. Sandiford, did you date her mother? Did you have an intimate relationship with her mother?
Married.
Yes, Your Honor. Then she come up pregnant. And I was always told by friends that Samantha was my child, but when the baby was born, I was there.
Now wait, this is what I'm trying to understand. You said you were at the hospital, and were you there because you thought you were about to have a baby with her mother?
I was there for a friend.
You weren't even at the hospital?
Oh, as a friend?
Oh, yes, I was, and your mother had some other guy that she was dating at that time, but he was there, and he said, oh, I got me a new daughter, I don't remember
this. I don't remember
Well, of course you did. You were the baby.
Yeah, you wouldn't remember that.
Right.
Mr. Sandiford, there's another guy there.
Yes, Your Honor, there was.
And he was saying, I have another daughter, I have another daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Speaking about Miss Fields.
Yes, Your Honor.
My mother was good to you.
So then why were you there as a friend instead of as a potential or
because
new father?
I didn't know if I was a father because she slept with so many different men.
So she slept with different men. You were the one that stayed in the bar looking for women.
So what? And your mother was one of them.
She worked at a bar. She had 2 jobs to support me and my
she hung out there afterwards, too.
Okay, just because she hung out, does that mean she's sleeping with other people? You hang out at a bar. Are you sleeping with everybody in the bar?
If I get the chance.
He told the truth.
I guess he told that.
He's the womanizer.
Oh, Miss Fields. All your life you were told that Mr. Sandiford was your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And were you ever told that it could be someone else?
Never. Not until I was 23 years old, and he told me that on a Facebook message.
Tell me about your relationship with Ms. Boyer.
We don't have a relationship. We don't have a relationship like sisters should. Y'all have a lot better relationship than me and you do.
Of course, because I fought custody for her and everything.
And you would have never done that if it wasn't for
How could I when you was adopted out from under me, Samantha?
You weren't there before I was adopted out from under you. When I was 9 years old, you could have done something.
What did you want me to do?
Act like a father.
I was there for you. There was no other man in your life to be your father.
Do what you had to do to
I took the responsibility
to
man up.
Responsibility to man up when? When you were at the bar drinking?
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. I want to hear from Ms. Boyer. Please stand up, ma'am. Ms. Fields, you may take a seat. Thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Ms. Boyer,
Yes, Your
Explain to the court why you're here today exactly.
I'm here today to prove that Mr. Sandifer is my father.
I have proof otherwise, Your Honor.
You have proof that she is not your daughter.
My name's not on the birth certificate.
I'd like to see that. Jerome, please hand me that evidence.
But Your Honor, he was in a relationship with my mother when I was born, and he lived with us till I was 5 years old.
This is a copy of Ms. Boyer's birth certificate.
The reason there is another man on my birth certificate, Your Honor, is because my mother was married and separated.
And told me I was the father.
But because she was still married back 30 years ago, you had to put your husband on the birth certificate.
Mr. Sandifer, you were there when Tuesday was born,
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Boyer?
Honor.
Were you there again as a friend, or were you
No,
there
I was
because you
there as
thought you were the
father.
father?
I raised her for 8 years till me and her mother separated. I paid child support religiously. Then this child would call me up and tell me there's no food in the house. Mama's gone. We don't know where she's at. Bring me some money or some food. I called my lawyer, Your Honor. She says, next visitation, Mr. Sandifer, pick your daughter up and don't take her back. I said, well, I would go to jail. She said, don't worry about that. I'll get you out. So we went to court. The judge gave her mother 3 opportunities to show up.
She never showed up to court, to the
Never
court
showed
date.
up.
And you were awarded full?
Yes, Your Honor.
After that entire legal battle, did you believe Ms. Boyer was your biological child?
Not really, Your Honor, because I still have doubts just because of the paperwork.
If you're not my dad, why did you fight for me?
Because I love you and I manned up. Why did you leave me
I
when
went
I
to
already
my
had
grandmother.
custody and go back to your mother? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't go to my mother.
You didn't?
I went to
You
my
went to Atlanta,
brother.
Georgia?
When I went to visit him, though, when
You
he
were
brought
at
me
your mother's.
back, I was 14 years old.
Right.
We pulled up to the house, and the house was abandoned. There was no one there. You had moved to California. I found that out by going to my grandmother's house.
That's wrong.
So I went back to
I
Georgia
come
with
and
my
pick
brother.
your butt up Tuesday.
Yes, that was after I had been there for almost 2 years.
Yeah, well, you decided you thought things were better on the other side living with her.
So,
I didn't want
Ms.
to move to
Boyer,
California.
ultimately, do you believe he abandoned you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have
do.
never abandoned you.
Just tell me how you feel.
Your Honor.
What do you feel?
When I was 10, he got a divorce, and I was left
You
with my
quit school
grandmother.
on me?
I quit school because I had no one to sign me up for school because you wouldn't sign over rights, so someone could sign me
Why
up
should I
for school.
sign over my rights?
Well, how could I go to school if no one could register me? But Your Honor, when he had a woman that had children, I was in his life. When there was a woman without children, I was left at my grandmother's.
You're an adult now, Tuesday.
Yes, but I have 3 kids that need you. They don't have another
boy,
grandparent
you
in
know
their
I'm
life.
there at least twice a week.
Yes,
At least.
but you don't do things with them like you used to.
I work. I'm so tired I barely have time for myself. I spend as much time as I can. You can't say that
Yes,
I don't.
But their
We
other
just went to
grandparents...
Huntsville just last summer.
Right, and they enjoyed that. But their
Carried
other
them to the
grandparents
Rocket
have
Center.
passed away, and they have no one else. They need you in their life. I need you in my life. Well, I believe you are my dad, and that's why I want to prove it. I mean, the difference between me and Samantha, okay, is I'm 5'1". She's 5'10". I look like him. She doesn't. And, I mean, there's a picture of me and him when I was a child. That was right after he got custody of me.
That's such a cute picture.
Thank you, Your Honor. May not have been the best dad in the world, but I tried my darndest. I worked my butt off so hard and tried to do things for y'all when I can and when I can afford it.
I don't have an education.
So pretty much, Ms. Boyer, you blame him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you feel like this relationship or lack of relationship caused you to drop out of school.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's the last grade you completed?
7th grade.
So you're suing him for the cost of a GED program because you believe he owes that to you.
Something
Yes,
I already
Your Honor.
paid for?
That way I can help my kids with their homework.
So you believe he owes you another GED test because the last time he paid for it, you were so distressed because of your relationship, you were not able to effectively study and pass. And that's why you're suing him
Yes, Your
today
Honor.
for that.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm ready for the results. Jerome? Ms. Boyer, I will start with you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, when it comes to 31-year-old Tuesday Boyer, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Sandifer, you are not her father.
Oh, wow.
You okay, sir? You need to take a seat?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I was sure he was my father.
God almighty. Sorry, Your Honor.
My kids need a grandparent, so I've got to find.
You got one. You got a father still. You still got a father.
I would love for you to be in their life.
Mr. Sandifer, did you really want to be Ms. Boyer's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry. Are you ready for the next result with Ms. Field?
I got you.
Yes, Your Honor.
These results were also prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, the court has determined Mr. Sandifer, you are not her father.
I presumed Samantha wasn't, but I never thought Tuesday would have. I'm still here for you, girls. Anytime. And your children's too. I'm still their grandfather.
Ms. Boyer, the basis of your suit was that your father, the man that raised you, was responsible for providing you with an education. And unfortunately, I cannot award you any money for an additional test because there have been no facts presented that he was at all negligent. Your claim is denied.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sandifer, you have indicated you will still be here for the girls and their children, and I think that's commendable.
Yes, Your Honor.
And ladies, take advantage of Mr. Sandifer's offer. Do the work and just help move forward. I think your dad could use a hug.
Sorry, girls. I'm so sorry.
Not the results that I expected at all.
Mrs. Johnson, you and your husband have been together for 5 years. You are in court to save your marriage by proving to the defendant that your husband is not the biological father of her 13-month-old twins, Christian and Christiana.
Yes, Your
Is that
Honor.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you contend that you had a sexual relationship with the plaintiff's husband and say that led to your pregnancy and birth of your twins. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, you say you are Mr. Johnson's mother and you contacted the court hoping to bring closure to this ongoing DNA drama. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Johnson, explain to me, why are you so desperate for these results?
I just want to prove it so we can move on with our life. I want Ms. Davis out of our lives for good. It's bringing problems with us and with me and my mother-in-law.
And so how is this affecting your marriage, Mr. Johnson?
I just feel like we'll have a lot more closure if I go ahead and find out if they're mine or not,
So you admit you're a married man and you're torn between 2 women now.
basically. But now, I'm not going to say now because me and Ms. Davis don't have any more dealings.
But she's
But-
still wreaking havoc on your relationship.
I'm not going to necessarily say that, but
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say, being that I don't know for sure if the kids are mine, yeah, that's causing havoc. Because my wife does not get any rest at all if she got to wonder if I got other kids outside of us.
And who's responsible for that?
Me, I take full
Say
responsibility.
something then.
I'm a
That's what
grown
I'm
man.
talking about.
I'm a
Let's
grown
say
man.
something. Let's tell the truth. So the bottom line is you potentially have children outside your marriage.
Yeah.
One minute they're his, then the next minute they're not. When we're together, we're doing good. He'll go off with Ms. Davis to spend time with those kids.
And so you're saying that Ms. Davis says 1 minute they're his and 1 minute...
Yes, Your
Are
Honor.
you switching up, Ms. Davis?
No, ma'am. I'm sure not.
So tell me about your relationship with Mr. Johnson.
Somebody introduced me to him.
Okay.
So we was together for a little while, you know what I'm saying?
Did you know he was in a relationship with Ms. Johnson?
No, not really until like a couple years, probably like a year or so. I seen the little married pictures on Facebook or whatever. So I'm like, so when this come about? You know?
Did you confront him about, are you
No.
married?
No, I ain't confronted, but you know, I asked him about it because it ain't my concern because you ain't my man, you know?
And so what did he say?
I want to be with you and, you know, we'll get the papers and we can go from there. I got the papers. Okay?
Oh, you told him to get the papers as in divorce papers?
Yeah.
And if he really wanted to be with you, then you would let him be with you?
Yeah, we can go from there, you know, talk about it,
Your
whatever.
Honor,
But see,
that's
it's another
not
lady
true.
involved too. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, since she's not in court, we'll just leave that one alone.
Yeah.
We got enough to deal
Exactly.
with in here.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson's married to his wife. But you find out you're pregnant. When you find out you're pregnant, do you tell him?
Well, you know, not really. No, I told his mama, you know, I still have a relationship with his mama. You know, I talk to his mama all the time.
So you told his mother,
yeah,
I'm pregnant.
But I said I don't think they his.
You
So-
said you don't think they're his.
You're right.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, how did you find out your husband potentially had another woman pregnant?
I actually seen her. We went to the same doctor's office.
What?
Yes, she want to be the wife. She would never be the wife. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, hold on. Take me
Okay,
back
I
to
would
the...
never
wait, I
try
want
to
to
be
go
the
back
wife.
to the same doctor part. And you're talking about OBGYN doctor, baby delivering doctor?
The baby doctor.
So you both were pregnant at the same
We were
time?
pregnant at the same time.
Yeah. All us. It's the other women too. All us. Yes.
Our babies might be
Like
7
back
weeks
to back.
apart.
Did you know that she potentially was pregnant by your husband?
No, I didn't even know they had any dealings when I was pregnant.
Your Honor, at the time, nobody knew that she
No,
was possibly
no.
pregnant by me.
No,
It's
nothing.
like Ms. Davis never came out and told anybody that she was pregnant by me.
Because she said she suppressed it, but she told your mother.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
and
a
she also
possibility.
told her
Mom?
no before.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
So it sounds like Miss Davis confided in you.
I heard that the twins might be my grands, so I asked Miss Davis were they my grands, and she said no, ma'am. I think after she had them, I asked her again, and I said, well, bring them back so I can see them. And she brought them to my house. I think they were maybe 4 or 5 months. And I looked at them, and I said, well, this one looks like his son. And I said, so you sure that's something that you don't need to tell me? And she just smiled, like she's doing now, and she said, talk to your son. And she said, I'll give him a test if he wanted. And that's when she basically confirmed for me that he could possibly be the father.
We got married. We will be married 1 year in June 11th. Me and my husband met 5 years ago. I was the very first girl that he met. So I'm the very first one. So they always tell my mother-in-law, like, I knew him first. No, I knew him first. Me and him been rocking years. I'm not going nowhere. No matter whatever we go through, he always tell me. I even asked my husband, do he want a divorce? No, I'm not leaving you from the body. She wanted to play the wife role. She even asked my mother-in-law, can you go to her house and get BJ clothes? Never was going to happen. The day that another woman comes to my house for my husband clothes, that would be the day. He's not going anywhere. I'm not going nowhere.
Excuse me, Your Honor, he told me to go get his clothes.
It don't matter who he's with.
Don't do that, baby.
I'm not going nowhere. So
It don't matter. I don't care.
So wait a minute, Ms.
You
Davis.
were looking stupid, not me, baby.
Wait a
No, I'm
minute.
not looking stupid. I'm the wife, baby. You the one who's going back and forth
No,
with
baby,
BJ.
because I didn't.
Hold on.
I didn't.
I'm not
bend
going
over
nowhere.
with that.
Not going nowhere.
Ladies.
Go somewhere else.
Ms. Davis, were you saying that Mr. Johnson was texting you just
Not too long ago. I'm
My
gonna come
husband don't have a
home
phone.
and this and that.
saying, I want to come home?
Yeah.
How long ago
I want
was
to come
it?
home. Like a month ago. Like
My
a month
husband
ago.
don't have a phone.
Like a month ago.
I got
You
his
just
phone.
went with the other lady.
I didn't even have a phone.
Like a month
You don't
ago.
have a
You just
phone.
went with the other lady.
It wasn't a month ago.
Yes, it was.
It been way more than a month ago. I'd say maybe at least 3 months ago when she heard from me.
What'd you say?
We ain't gonna never
So,
agree on that.
Ms.
You know,
Davis, you do admit, though, I mean, Ms. Johnson has testified to this, and you said, too, because of your denial, you admit that initially you told Mr. Johnson and his mother, these are not his children.
Yeah.
And so you now believe the twins are his children.
Well, one of them, because they fraternal, they was in different sex.
Okay, so they're fraternal twins,
Yeah.
and you believe
The
one.
girl twin, because my ex, I had an ex at the time.
So you believe the girl twin is Mr. Johnson's biological daughter.
Yes.
Why do you believe that?
Because like I was saying, like all the girls that he got, they all favor. Like got face features, hair, everything.
Your little girl favors his other children.
Yes, ma'am.
So you basically submitted these pictures to the court. This is Ms. Johnson's daughter, and this is your daughter, Ms. Davis, your daughter, on the right. And you believe you see similarities.
Yeah. Look at the cheekbones, look at the nose, the eyes, the hair, definitely.
Mr. Johnson, when you look at the picture, do you see the similarities?
Other than the one she pointed out, no.
So you don't really feel like these are compelling similarities?
No, I don't ever go by no pictures.
How about you, Grandma? When you look at these pictures, Ms. Johnson, do you see similarities?
With me, I'm seeing the similarity between his son and her son.
You do.
Between his older son.
You see similarity between the boys.
Yes. Yes.
This is a photo of Mr. Johnson, and then this is a photo of Christian, Ms. Davis's little boy. Ms. Davis, I want to ask you, so since you believe Mr. Johnson fathered your girl twin, who do you believe fathered your boy twin?
My ex.
Your ex.
My ex, yes, Your Honor.
So does that mean you had sex with both gentlemen?
I probably had sex with him that night. I probably laid on a couple days, probably had sex with the ex.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, have you met the twins?
Yes, Your Honor. I met them multiple times. I actually spent time with them.
You have?
Yeah.
When you spend time with them, do you feel connected to them? Do you feel like
even Ms. Davis can tell you, me and the little girl bond, but the little boy, me and him don't have too much dealings.
So this is the first time, actually, this court has heard a case where twins could potentially have two different biological fathers. And we wanted to further understand this matter. So, Mrs. Johnson, I'm going to ask you to step down, please. You can step over to the podium next to your son and your daughter-in-law. And at this point, the court would like to call Dr. Jackie, an OBGYN, who appears on Bravo's Married to Medicine. Jerome, will you please escort Dr. Jackie in?
Yes. Have you come up right here to the witness stand next to the judge.
Hello, Dr. Jackie.
Hi, Judge.
Thank you for joining us. Dr. Jackie, we are here discussing the paternity matter related to beautiful twins, Christian and Christiana. And their mother, Ms. Davis, says she believes that the twins were fathered by two different men. And so I called upon you because this court wants further information. Can you explain?
Certainly. It is something in medicine we call superfecundation, or basically saying a female will ovulate more than one egg in that one ovulatory cycle. The egg typically lives about 12 to 24 hours, sometimes 48. However, sperm can last for 3 to 5 days. So should a female ovulate one or more eggs in that cycle, and she has one or more partners, certainly you can have a set of twins with two different fathers.
And Ms. Davis, you did testify. You were very honest about the fact that it is very possible that you slept with Mr. Johnson one day, and then a couple days later also had sex with your ex.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So can you tell us what the odds are? What are we looking at here? Is this something that's close to a miracle, or is this something that is more common than we are informed about?
What they found is, and there's a lot about genetics now, is there is actually a gene where it typically follows the maternal line, but there are some women who will have that gene where they either the hormone responds more, the egg responds more, or the hormone is more virulent.
Okay.
And you will release more than one egg at a time.
Is that the phrase you hear commonly referred to as twins running in a family?
Yes, exactly.
He got twin brothers.
Oh.
May have that gene, Judge.
So, with that said, Ms. Davis, your thought is not so far-fetched. This courtroom is about not just helping people find their fathers, but helping us all understand the biology of this all. Well, I think we've heard enough testimony, and I don't know about you, but I am ready to get the results for these babies. Jerome? We have 2 sets of results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Johnson versus Davis, when it comes to 1-year-old Christian Davis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are not the father. I will say this, Ms. Davis, you said Christiana is the one you believed was his.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that result didn't surprise you.
Not at all.
All right. The next result reads as follows. In the case of Johnson versus Davis, when it comes to 1-year-old Christiana Davis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are not the father.
I'm fine. I know now.
So you know.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say the father of both twins, then it's your ex.
Yes.
But you say he is in the twins' life right now.
Yes.
I know you formed a bond with the children. You talked about that, Mr. Johnson. How are you feeling in this moment?
I mean, not really like shocking to me because I knew that it was a possibility that they wasn't.
You had prepared yourself.
Yes.
How do you feel, Ms. Johnson?
I mean, either way it go, I'm still gonna be close, with Senator because I knew her. But I'm glad that this issue has been resolved. That way it won't be any more drama between her and my daughter-in-law because now she has the answers that she needed and everybody can just move on.
And now the truth is, it's up to your son. It's up to you, Mr. Johnson, to stop the behavior that causes this. Can you do that? Because I don't want to see you in here again.